blue, red. Are those our true colors or a leftist color scheme?
Left is blue and right is red wasn't always the political color scheme. It was created in 1980 to intentionally mislead the American public, as we will soon see.
The real reds.
When Karl Marx was expelled from Prussia in 1849, amidst wide-scale violent leftist insurrections in Europe, he defiantly published the final issue of Neue Rheinische Zeitung in red ink. All over the world, and almost as long as there has been a political left, red has always been their color. The flag of the Paris Commune of 1871 was red. Communist Russia was red, from the Red Square in Moscow to the Red Star symbol. The Soviet Army was officially the Red Army. In the 1970s, left-wing terrorist groups in both Japan and Germany also called themselves the Red Army. The Asian leftists never shied away from being Reds. The Chinese commies were proud to be Red China. The flag of Communist China is still red as of this writing. The socialists in Vietnam, North Korea, Laos, and Cambodia were Reds, and the color blue was often associated with the right. So what happened to reverse this?
Election blues, 1980.
Here's a quote from a 2004 New York Times article titled, "Ideas and Trends, One State, Two State, Red State, Blue State."
It's beginning to look like a suburban swimming pool, the television anchor David Brinkley noted on election night 1980, as hundreds of Republican blue light bulbs illuminated NBC's studio map, signaling a landslide victory for Ronald Reagan over the Democratic incumbent Jimmy Carter. Other staffers, Time magazine wrote, called it Lake Reagan. Mr. Carter's bulbs were red.
The article tells how by 2004, the left had somehow become blue and right was red. How had that happened? The article said, "To many, this palette represents an ignorant or perhaps intentional reversal of international tradition." So the article admits that the international tradition is that the left is red. But the article then goes on to try to make it sound like the blue-red color switch was not intentional. But that isn't true, though. It was 100% intentional. The new blue-red color scheme was indeed a scheme. It wasn't a mistake. It was a lie from the start. Even Wikipedia admits it.
The choice of colors reverses a long-standing convention of political colors whereby red symbols, such as the red flag or red star, are associated with left-wing politics. Indeed, until the 1980s, Democrats were often represented by red and Republicans by blue. The current terminology of red states and blue states came into use in the United States presidential election of 2000, on an episode of The Today Show on October 30th, 2000. Wanting to avoid any implied connection between the Democratic Party and the Communist Party. According to the Washington Post, the terms were coined by journalist Tim Russert during his televised coverage of the 2000 presidential election. That was not the first election during which the news media used colored maps to depict voter preferences in the various states. But it was the first time a standard color scheme took hold.
Blue-red goes global. The East is red no more.
The de facto national anthem of Communist China during the Cultural Revolution was called "The East is Red." It went like this: "Chairman Mao loves the people. He is our guide to building a new China. Hooray! Lead us forward." But by the 2020s, the blue-red color scheme had gone from being, in 2000, a lie about blue states versus red states, to being universally used to make all things left blue and all things right red. However, the leftists' blue-red switch was slow to catch on outside the U.S., because European and Asian leftists are less likely to be ashamed of being identified as reds. But by 2023, publications from those regions showed that the color scheme lie was gradually becoming universal. So what, you may ask? Why does the color deception matter? The big blue-red lie is one part of a much larger leftist disinformation effort. The left perpetually switches the meanings of words to confuse issues and make rational discussion more difficult. In this way, they muddy the waters of public discourse and blur the real differences. Because that's what you do when you are promoting a destructive set of ideas, and you don't want people to see what you're doing. You hide it. You lie. That's why truth is the leftists' worst enemy, and lies are the leftists' best weapon. In America, the leftists need to constantly lie to avoid being correctly identified as what they really are. The truth is that most Americans still prefer freedom and free enterprise to bigger and more powerful government. That's why the leftists here have to lie about what they are, and leftist lying is working. Freedom and free enterprise and truth are on the decline, and government gets bigger, more powerful, and more intrusive every year. We know why the left switched colors, so the mystery about the blue-red switch was on the right. Why did the right immediately and without protest or question completely acquiesce to the deception? If you wanted to protest the blue-red lie, there was a place where you could. Unfortunately, it only provided more evidence of the unconditional and unopposed victory of the left's deceptive color scheme. Change.org has a petition appealing to then-President Trump to, quote, switch back the blue and red colors, unquote, but the petition is closed and has been for some time. While it was open, it got a total of 1 response and 7 votes. To quote the petition,
because blue was always the Republican color until 2000, when the media or Democrats decided to change it. We all know red is a communist color, and blue the conservative color. I am surprised. The Republicans didn't do anything about it.
Our true colors.
that the leftists could make the blue-red switch with impunity, and the right not only failed to oppose it, but didn't seem to realize that it happened, is troubling. Leftists commit sins galore. It seems that the sin of the right is complacency. In 2021, David Horowitz said in an interview with Ben Shapiro, quote, "Conservatives tend to be complacent. To live and to let live is a conservative idea," unquote. Live and let live is a good philosophy, but it seems that we on the right are on the verge of living and let living ourselves to death. Maybe the time is here when we either turn the tables on the leftists and their lies, or we lose everything. What can we do? We can defeat the leftists. We are better than them. The truth is better than lies. The color switch makes the red pill right. We can take back our freedoms and our country. Rightful Freedom has some thoughts on how that might be done, and we would love to hear your ideas.
Thank you for your interest in Rightful Freedom. Please help us grow by liking and subscribing and commenting. We would love your feedback, and see more content at our website, rightfulfreedom.com.